Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, one organization is helping students get the experiences and certifications they need without going to a four-year university. And a few months ago, we told you about a young boy found in a suitcase in Indiana. Today, we know that boy's name. We have more details coming up.
And some much nicer weather is on the way as we finish up the work week. The very latest straight ahead as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. With just 13 days to go until Election Day, voters around the country are hearing last-minute arguments from candidates in a variety of races as they take to the debate stage. In some cases, CBS's Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
Georgia Republican Senate candidate and former football player Herschel Walker brought in South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham to help him campaign in his race to defeat Democratic incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock.
I'm here to beg, plead with you to elect Herschel Walker and fire Warnock. The guy's got to go.
Georgia is one of 5 toss-up states that will determine which party controls the Senate. And right now, Senator Raphael Warnock has a slim lead in the polls.
I am here and I am worried. If we can win in Georgia, it's over for them. Do you realize that? That the pathway to the majority in the Senate runs through the state of Georgia?
Pennsylvania is another key race in the battle for the Senate. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman has seen his sizable lead shrink. Republican challenger Dr. Mehmet Oz was back on the campaign trail hours after coming face-to-face with Fetterman on major issues including crime.
I was at the Steelers game last week at a tailgate. Less than 3 blocks away, a few hours earlier, 3 men were murdered, 2 of them innocent bystanders. In Philadelphia, almost every day I wake up and open the paper and wonder how many people did we lose? Not did we lose anybody, but how many did we lose?
Fetterman and Oz squared off in their only debate Tuesday night. For many voters, it was their first time seeing Fetterman since he suffered a stroke in May.
I might miss some words during this debate, mush 2 words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up.
A CBS News poll out Tuesday shows Fetterman's lead is now within the poll's margin of error. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden tweeted out a clip from Tuesday night's debate where Oz said abortion decisions should be between, quote, women, doctors, and local political leaders. The president slammed the comment, saying, quote, would he recommend local officials make decisions about cancer treatments, colonoscopies, or is this kind of scrutiny reserved just for women? Former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has to testify before a grand jury investigating the 2020 presidential election. The Atlanta-based grand jury is probing alleged election meddling in Georgia. The South Carolina judge ruled Meadows is important to the matter and Georgia is not causing Meadows undue hardship by making him appear. Meadows currently lives in South Carolina and Atlanta prosecutors sought an order there calling for Meadows to comply with their subpoena. Meadows' attorney announced plans to appeal just minutes after the judge's decision this morning. The U.S. Justice Department is asking a federal judge to force the top 2 lawyers from Donald Trump's White House counsel's office to testify about their conversations with the former president. It comes as the DOJ tries to break through the privilege firewall Trump has reportedly used to avoid scrutiny of his actions on January 6th. The move to compel additional testimony from former White House counsel Pat Cipollone and Deputy White House counsel Patrick Philbin just last week is part of a set of secret court proceedings. Trump has been fighting to keep former advisors from testifying before a criminal grand jury about certain conversations, citing executive and attorney-client privileges. Police announced a break in the case of a little boy whose body was found abandoned in a suitcase in Indiana 6 months ago. One suspect is in custody and a nationwide search is underway for the child's mother, now wanted for murder. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has more.
Sergeant Carrie Hulls described the moment as bittersweet, being able to finally identify the boy whose body was abandoned in southern Indiana.
He was Cairo Amar Jordan. Cairo Amar Jordan was from Atlanta, Georgia. He was 5 years old at the time of his death.
Cairo's body was discovered in April when a mushroom hunter found the remains in a suitcase in the woods. There were no witnesses, no missing child reports, no useful tips. But after months of investigation, physical evidence from the scene led police to the boy's mother, 37-year-old DeJuan Anderson, now at large and wanted for murder.
But since this investigation began, she's traveled to several locations west, including Houston, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco.
Anderson was last seen in California. A second suspect was arrested last week near San Francisco, charged with neglect and obstruction of justice. The case brought the community together in grief.
Little boy just starting his life, his whole future ahead of him, and somebody just discarded him like a piece of trash.
Sergeant Hulls said the break in the case came after many sleepless nights.
No matter what progress is made, what happens in a case, we're still dealing with the tragic death of a precious young child.
He's now asking for the public's help in locating the mother and getting justice for Cairo. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
An autopsy found no signs of physical trauma and said Cairo died of an electrolyte imbalance, most likely caused by gastroenteritis.
We continue to watch the potential for scattered clouds throughout the nighttime hours. In fact, widespread clouds turning more scattered as we head through tonight, but it's going to be a little bit. Downtown Whitesburg, overhead, overcast. And it's something we've seen throughout the day today, and that has kept temperatures on the chilly side. How about upper 40s and low 50s region-wide out there tonight? A nice night for a hearty bowl of soup, in my humble opinion. Not too bad out there in terms of rainfall. We don't have to worry about any of that. Winds out of the northwest have brought us this cool air. The pinpoint Doppler is showing a clean sweep, but you factor in the clouds on satellite, and yeah, we're still watching that cloud line back toward Louisville, so we're not quite there yet. Backing on out, you see this is all part of the system that affected us last night. Continues to push on to the east and the northeast through southern Canada and out of our hair. We just have to get these clouds on out of here first. Keep that First Alert weather app handy. You'll see the latest forecast. You open it up, you'll see falling through the 50s tonight, kind of holding steady until we can get to the upper 40s overnight. Details, though, on when some sunshine returns, that's in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. A fast-track trade school will be opening soon in Martin County. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how Tech Center Incorporated could have a big economic impact.
Instead of a four-year institution, students in the area have another option they could flourish in. Tech Center, a fast-track trade school in Martin County.
It is a post-secondary institute, but it's going to bring about heavy equipment operators, industrial maintenance mechanics, and electricians in a different way.
In less than a year, students can learn techniques and earn certifications. And with skilled workers from a school in the area, Martin County could profit.
We have the keys here to getting these people trained that they're needing for a workforce, which allows for her to grow and for us to potentially grow with bringing some companies into our area.
ARC representatives presented Tech Center with a $1.5 million grant to help get started.
We did submit an application for the power grant so that we were able to get the funding that we needed to open up the school, do the renovation of the space where the classrooms will be, buy the equipment that we need.
Now that enrollment is open, Angie and her fellow board members are excited to create more jobs in the region.
We're from this region, not necessarily in Martin County, but close by. So we wanted to do something that allowed people to obtain sustainable jobs and viable careers close to home.
Students from area technology programs in Martin County will be helping create their classrooms. In Inez, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
And Tech Center officials are hoping to start classes in February 2023. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, it's a con that could steal your identity and link you to fraud without you ever knowing. What you need to know to avoid Google voice scams.
Plus, sunshine on the way back as we finish this work week up. The very latest on how that will affect temperatures coming right up.